Hey guys, good morning. In this video, I want to talk about alternative social media sites, social media platforms, um, and then also I want to go into alternative ways you can view social media sites like Twitter, Reddit, um, and YouTube. So recently, in the past few years, people have started what's called the big tech exodus, where those who are on these big social media platforms and using these large centralized services like Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, the FANG companies. Rob Brackman calls it, I think, MAGA FT, maybe, because there's a few more. Um, so people have started moving away from these centralized services for various reasons, mainly being privacy and censorship. So with Trump's recent ban from nearly all major platforms, and then Parler being deleted. Their servers were shut down. Not their servers. They were kicked off of Amazon Web Services, essentially, as far as I know. Um, there are these fears are real. Um, so people have started coming up with these alternative social media sites, such as Mastodon, Pleroma, PeerTube. There's a few more. There's a bunch of them. And the way that these sites differ from the centralized services that we have currently is that they are decentralized, meaning that I can host my own versions of these sites. They're free software. I think Mastodon and PeerTube are under the AGPL um, license. So I'm able to host my own instance of it, and you're able to host your own instance, somebody else. And what's cool is, I can have people join my instance, you can have people join yours, but they're running what's called ActivityPub, which is the protocol that allows these instances to communicate with each other. So people on my instance can see things on your instance, and everything in the Fediverse is what it's called, via this federated software. Um, so really, what this means is that censorship really isn't possible. I can ban somebody from my instance, but they can go to a different instance. They can host their own instance. So I guess the only way that they could really be censored and thrown off the platform totally is if they're arrested, um, and their instance could be shut down. I guess if it's found to be problematic, to be unlawful, or whatever. Um, Yeah, so there's a bunch of these equivalents already. I have a Mastodon account. I don't have a Pleroma or a PeerTube account. And I probably won't. I probably won't host my own instance for a while unless something moves me. I'll just use somebody else's instance. But I don't really use Twitter all that much. I like reading. I don't like tweeting or anything. But I don't have a Twitter anymore. I do have a Mastodon, but I don't use it. Anyway. Um, so that's some reasons you might want to switch to those platforms. Because and another thing, because this is decentralized. It's really hard to filter some things. So you're not getting just what Facebook wants to show you, or just what Twitter wants to show you, or anything like that. I believe it's all in like chronological order. And there's very little that they do to filter any of the data unless you have some settings where maybe you block certain words from your feed or something. I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar with the actual use of these platforms, but yeah. So then on to alternative ways that you can view your social media sites that you have currently. So not everybody's gonna up and hop over to these new platforms. It's gonna be a long process to move, and some people probably just won't move. A lot of people probably won't move. It's kind of a pessimistic thing to say, but it's kind of the truth. Um, so you still have friends, family you want to keep up with on Twitter, Facebook. You still want to use Reddit. There are these alternative sites and softwares to view these sites, where you're not running, excuse me, JavaScript code in the browser, um, and acts essentially like a proxy. I'm mainly talking about things like Knitter, and ITTER. There's LibReddit. There's Invidious, which is really cool. And how these basically act is you're able to host your own instances of it, and it's talking to these social media sites for you. It's not sending over your cookies or anything like that. So your browsing habits are a lot more sporadic. And if multiple people are using your instance of this, so for LibReddit, I have my own LibReddit instance now at libreddit.jacksontaylor.xyz. If a bunch of people were to use it, they Twitter sees this as one user. It's coming from this one IP, so the browsing habits become a lot more sporadic, and they're not able to, that data essentially becomes worthless, right? Yeah, so that's a way you're able to view your social media accounts more privately. A lot of these are read only, so you're not able to post things because you'd just be signing in and just use their site to do it. But if you're just reading, like I am, it's kind of nice. It's pretty cool. And these are all free software equivalents as well. Yeah, it's pretty neat. So I'm planning on hosting my own Knitter instance, and then maybe Invidious. I think Invidious is a little bit more. That's the YouTube equivalent. It's a little bit more resource intensive, so I might have to upgrade my server, or purchase a new one. But yeah, it's pretty cool. There are these public instances. You can probably look them up and use somebody else's for the time being. I'll probably make a blog post whenever I have my instances up that you can use. Yeah. Thanks, guys.